Hello everybody, welcome back to the Path YouTube channel. If you don't know me yet, if you haven't seen any earlier videos, I'm Bernd or Bernd, depending on what you find most easily pronounceable. I'm the director and founder here at the Path. And, here in these little talks, little snippets of teachings of the yogic tradition, I try to just bring light upon some very important basic concepts, any questions that you guys bring forth or questions I'm frequently asked, I will also try to bring them here. The thing I wanted to talk about today was the question of Om. So why is it that teachers pretty much always, well, not all teachers, but I would say more than most, would begin and end the class with Om? So what is Om? What does it mean? Why often do we teachers start with 3 Oms and end with the 1? Why do some do it, some don't? What's the significance? What does it mean? I've heard it said that Om is a primordial sound. All these are kind of very good and very interesting questions that I'm hoping to help everyone out with a little bit today. Now, I do have to say a little bit of a disclaimer here. A couple of years ago, I believe, I taught an hour-and-a-half philosophy lecture on this topic. So this is not going to be at all an exhaustive, complete teaching. This will be a little snippet of just some of the very basic ideas around and behind Om. So before I get into the actual word or sound itself and what it really signifies and means, the first thing I want to talk a little bit about is the symbolism of Om when you come to a yogic practice. So often you will see, I will do this almost always in my classes, for example, the teacher will start in Anjali Mudra, this hand position, and we will chant 3 Oms together. So the meaning of the 3 Oms at the beginning of class is actually quite simple. It's to do with the 3 basic aspects of experience and the 3 basic things we have to work with as yogis, as humans actually: body, speech, and mind. Body is easy to understand, yeah. So when you're chanting the first Om, we are in a way connecting to the body, basically asking the body for help, kind of bringing our awareness into the sense that the body is going to be working with us. Yeah, of course, even if you're doing a meditation practice, the body is still a very big part. Of course, asana, yoga postures, the body is a huge part of that. Pranayama, the breath work, also, of course, the body is heavily involved. So the first Om is, in a way, you could say, reverencing the body, kind of revering the body, asking the body for help, connecting to it. The second Om refers to speech. Now, speech is not just literally speaking. Yes, it is that. But more symbolically, speech refers to communication. And this is, of course, extremely important, because if you're not really able to communicate very well with your teachers, with your body, with yourself, with the instructions that are given, then your practice really won't go so well. So communication, connecting to others, in a way you could say, is the second Om. So there's a sense of reverencing with that second Om, connecting to, reverencing the sense of communication, of connection with whoever you need to connect with in this practice. Like in the earlier YouTube video I recorded for you guys, where I go into the 2 most famous Shanti mantra. If you haven't seen that one, then you want to learn to chant, that's a good starting point. There I talk about the Sahana Vavatu mantra. And the essence in the translation is asking for positive connection with the teacher. And teacher and student, a positive, wholesome, very healthy connection, which often, sadly, in the modern day hasn't happened. But let's not go there today. That's maybe a topic for another day. Today we do something a little bit less incendiary than talking about dodgy teacher-student relationships. So there is a feeling that we need clear communication when we practice. It's also communication with ourselves, listening to your own situation, feeling, for example, if something isn't right with you, if you start to feel faint, or if you just start to feel really stirred up or kind of triggered. I had a really wonderful human in my class here yesterday, and she was very triggered by something that happened that one of the students was doing next to her, to the point that she was crying. And thankfully, she was able to communicate that to me. We had a really good conversation, and we talked about it, and I'll help her not face that situation again. So there's a sense of really clearly communicating. The final Om, as I did say, this could easily be an hour and a half, so I'm trying to move through quite quickly. The final Om is mind. It's not just manas mind, the thinking mind, but chitta mind, the heart mind. It's consciousness. It's awareness generally. So of course, this is incredibly important. Without awareness, without mind being on board, then your practice is to quote a Hatha Yoga Paripika line, like a toothless tiger. Different context in that text, but I always like that line. A toothless tiger. If you're practicing without awareness, if you're just kind of going through the motions while listening to your favorite audiobook or play or podcast, it's not going to work. We need to have our awareness 100% with the situation here, with the postures given if you're practicing asana, with the breath, with everything taking place, with people around you, with your experience you're going through, whatever emotions are rising up. Everything has to be felt and experienced with full awareness. So the Om is there to harness this. So 3 Oms at the beginning, something you could easily try. And let's do 3 Oms together actually. And I'll say this now, as you are chanting the 3 Oms, the first Om, just try to feel into the body. The second Om, try to get a feeling for communication right now between me and you. Even though you're not here with me in time, you are here with me in communication, in connection. So that kind of sense of almost like we're having a conversation right now, which we kind of are in some weird way. And the final Om, connect to your awareness, to the sense of your mind and how you are feeling. Yeah. So let's do that together. Hands together, front of the chest. Resting your forearms on your rib cage, close the eyes. And first Om, body. Second Om, communication. Third Om, mind. Deep breath. Highly recommend that you do this every time you chant your Oms at the beginning of class. Do it consciously, feeling into these 3 aspects. On a more bigger scale, the Oms at the beginning of the class are about ritually entering into the practice container. Yeah, the practice is like a kind of container that's holding you, and it's giving you a place to really develop and work within whatever you need to work and develop within right now. So the Oms are a way of entering into the space. It's like when you've sat on your mat, you've opened the door, and when you are chanting the Oms, you are entering in through the gate into this world of practice and closing the door behind you. Then you practice, then we come to our final Om. And the final Om is really just about connecting to something bigger beyond body, speech, and mind, something beyond your own little self, something eternal, kind of endless, infinite, open. So we've done all this practice. We find ourselves sitting again in front of the gateway back into our regular life. And before we exit the practice, we take one moment to really connect to big open space, to the eternal sense of what's really going on underneath all the things that are changing. So let's do that one together too. One final Om, and then I'll end this session here. There'll be another Om video coming soon where I go into more detail. So after this final Om, I won't say goodbye, I'll just end our time together so you can end the session with open space. But this final Om is a way of opening to space and then re-entering whatever's next in your life. Let's do this together.